Today we're going to be solving multi-step equations. This is section 3.3. The first thing that you need to work on is combining your like terms. When you have a problem like 9x plus x minus 7 equals 13, we need to work on combining the like terms that are on one side of the equation first. So 9x plus x gives us 10x minus 7 equals 13. Write down the rest of the problem once you have your like terms combined. Then this is set as a two-step problem, and I want to see what you're doing to both sides of the equation. So we have 10x that we're trying to solve for the x. That means we need to get rid of the negative 7. We're going to undo that 7 by adding 7 to both sides of the equation. Once you add 7 to both sides, we're left with 10x is equal to 20, and now you're down to a one-step equation. This one-step equation, we have to undo the multiplication that is there. So undoing multiplication means we will divide, and we will divide by 10 on both sides of the equation, and your answer will be 2 when you are finished. Please make sure that you are showing me what you are doing to both sides of the equation. We'll do that all through chapter 3, and then put a box around your answer when you get done. If you notice here, we have kind of like an upside down triangle going on, where we start out very wide up at the top and we work our way down to where we just have x equal 2 at the bottom. You can check your work to make sure that x does equal 2. 9 times 2 plus 2 minus 7 equals 13. You're substituting that 2 in for all of your x's, and then you start working through the math. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 2 minus 7 equals 13. 18 plus 2 is 20, so 20 minus 7 equals 13. And we get down to 13 equals 13. That's a true statement. Therefore, we know that x equals 2 is our correct answer. This is just checking our math. You want to make sure that you have the right answer on a test? It's a great idea to check. I do not require that you check your answers, but I sure encourage you to do that. Let's go on to another problem, 9d minus 2d plus 4 equals 32. If you're following along at home, perhaps you want to pause for just a moment. Work it out yourself, and then see if you have done the same way that I have gotten the answer. We should start out in combining our like terms, so that we'll have 7d plus 4 equals 32. We're always trying to get the variable by itself, so the plus 4 is what we need to get rid of. We have to undo that, so we're going to subtract 4 on both sides in order to undo, and we'll have 7d is equal to 28. 7d, that means 7 times d. We undo multiplication with division, so we're going to divide by 7 on both sides and have d is equal to 4. Again, please put a box around your answer. Show the work on both sides as you're working through the problem. Once we get down to chapter 3, I won't make you show work on both sides like I am doing here, but it's still, you have to be doing that in your head. Let's solve an equation by using the distributive property. Sometimes there will be parentheses in the problem that we need to get rid of those grouping symbols first. And if you look up here, this is 4x minus 7 times the quantity x minus 2. We do not take 4x minus 7. What has to happen is this negative 7 has to be multiplied by the x and the negative 2 inside the parentheses. So we start out writing 4x, and when we distribute that negative 7, that becomes negative 7x. And a negative times a negative is a positive, so we have plus 14 equals 26. Again, combine your like terms on one side of the equal sign, so we'll have negative 3x for that 4x minus 7x, plus 14 is equal to 26, and now we're down to a two-step equation. We'll start undoing the equation by undoing the addition that is there. That means we'll subtract 14 on both sides and have negative 3x is equal to 12. And finally, a one-step equation, let's undo by dividing by a negative 3 on both sides and have x equals a negative 4. Put a box around that final answer, please. It's very important that you do that distributing of the negative 7 to the x and the negative 2 in order to get rid of your grouping symbols. We'll do another one with the distributive property. If you want to pause the video a moment and do it yourself, that would be a great idea. So we have 6x. We're going to distribute the 2 so that you have a negative 2x, and a negative 2 times this negative 5 is going to be a negative times a negative, which is be a positive 10 equal to 46. Combine your like terms. These two are like terms, so we'll have 4x plus 10 is equal to 46. Let's start undoing what is being done. We have adding 10, so we need to subtract 10 on both sides. That leaves us with 4x is equal to 36. And now we will undo the multiplication, and we will divide by 4 on both sides, so we have x equals 9 as our final answer. Here we have a problem where there's a step missing. Which equation represents step 2 in the solution process? Take a look at your 4 answers, A, B, C, and D, and decide which one of those is for step 2 in the process. If you want, stop the video for a moment and think about that. When you're ready to go, start the video up again. We have negative 3x plus, we'll have to do some distributive property here. That'll be 4x minus 8 equals 15. That means we are looking at letter C as our answer. That is the missing step. If you got that, good job. We will also get rid of problems that have fractions. I know many of you do not care for fractions. They are your enemy. Well, we can take care of those fractions by multiplying by the reciprocal on both sides. So I have 3/5. Well, if I multiply by 5/3 on the left and 5/3 on the right, I can get rid of the fractions by multiplying these two fractions together. I'll be left with 2x minus 4 equal to, on the right-hand side, that 3 cancels into the 18 6 times, and I'm left with 6 times 5, which is going to be 30. Now I'm down to a two-step problem where I can start undoing the subtraction by adding 4 to both sides, and then I can undo the multiplication by doing the division by 2 and have x is equal to 17 as my final answer. Multiplying by that reciprocal is a very nice thing to do. If you would like to try one by yourself, pause the video right now and try this one. We will start multiplying by 5/4 on both sides so that we can get rid of the fraction that's there. If I were to distribute that fraction inside, I'd just create some more fractions along the way. So it's best if we just multiply by the reciprocal. I'll be left with 4a minus 1 is equal to, this will cancel and you'll have 7 times 5, which is 35. Now we can add 1 to both sides so that we'll have 4a is equal to 36. And when we divide by 4 on both sides, we're going to end up with a is equal to 9 as our final answer. In class, we're going to be doing some problems out of the textbook. You can stop the video and you can do these problems yourself. And I'll tell you that I'll put the answers up here in just a moment so that you can check your answers as well. If you have questions, I would encourage you to come on in and see me. So these are the problems. Here are the answers. If you don't want to see them, stop the video now. Here are the answers through 34. And then I'll also put up the answers to the next part with the story problems. So if you're not to the next part, you can stop the video again. Here are the next answers. And answers to the story problems. If you have any questions on these, it would be really good to come in and see me. Have a great night.